Right. So let's talk ADHD and how I think it's changed my life. Get yourself a wee coffee, sit down, chill out, relax, and let's just talk all things sort of personal development. But this video is really going to be about ADHD and my diagnosis, my recent diagnosis of ADHD. But before you do that, do us a massive favor. I'm trying to grow this channel. I created this channel a wee while ago, forgot all about it, to be honest with you, and other things in my life kind of came up and stopped me from doing it. But if you could hit that subscribe button, I would very much appreciate it and help me grow this channel. And God knows where it'll take us, but we'll go there together. So is it a bold statement to say that I think that ADHD changed my life? What I suppose I better do first is I better be upfront, honest, and transparent. That's all I can be. That's all any of us can ever be, is just upfront, honest, transparent with everything that we say and everything that we do. So my diagnosis of ADHD, this is something that I didn't think that I would talk about because it is quite personal. But again, I don't mind being a bit personal and trying to get my views about things across. Anybody who has followed me here from TikTok will know that I've kind of got one way of saying things, and it's kind of just straight to the point. Because I believe that is the best way to be. There's no point in fucking about and trying to say things that you don't actually mean. Just say it how you see it and how you feel it. And that's all I can do. So I'm just going to go on a bit of a tangent and just talk about why I came to the conclusion of getting myself tested for ADHD. As I said, this is brand new to me. It's not brand new in thinking that I had ADHD, but the diagnosis is brand new. Only like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, I decided to get myself tested for ADHD. Now, to get that in the NHS, there is a massive waiting list. So anybody who is waiting for a diagnosis might be waiting a long time. Now, I've been fortunate enough to work my arse off and work extremely hard at creating a business and give myself the best possible life that I can. I'm still trying to do that. I'm still trying to create that life that I want for me and my family. But over the last 6 years of running the business, I've now got myself to a position that the best financial position that I've ever been in my life due to hard work. It's not been easy. It's been incredibly difficult. It's been incredibly stressful. There's been a lot of hours put in. So when you're starting a business, if you fancy starting a business or you're thinking about starting a business, when people try and tell you that there's a work-life balance, it's bullshit. Absolute fucking nonsense. And I'll tell you that right now. You have to put in all the hard yards, right? But I've done that. And that's something that I will talk about going forward in another video that we do. But I want to talk about, obviously, how I think ADHD or the diagnosis of ADHD has changed my life. Or just ADHD has changed my life because it's something that I've obviously had all my life, but just had the clarification on it just over a month or so ago. So I have to really tell you why I took the decision to get tested. The thing is, social media is extremely powerful. We all know that, and we're seeing a lot in social media now, a lot about ADHD, and especially for adults, people who have not been diagnosed at an early age. And there was a lot of signs in there that I was seeing in social media that I was thinking, geez, that is me to a T. Not only that, but I do have someone close to me that's got ADHD. And I'd noticed things years ago about myself, the same sort of traits that I have that person has. So when I was diagnosed with ADHD, it wasn't a massive shock. But the reason that I got diagnosed is that I felt that things were sort of getting a bit more intense, very forgetful with things. And I put that down to a few things. I put that down to be stressed with work. I put that down to something that I'll go into in another video, but it's not like it's a big secret because it's something that I've mentioned in social media before and other social media channels and outlets that I have about my father being not well. And I just put it down to the stress of all that. That's why I was getting more forgetful, why I was being more responsive in things and not thinking about things properly. But I was told from my wife for a long time, I think you've got ADHD. Not only that, not only was I told by my wife, but I was told by some of my employees. I have some very straight talking employees, and they didn't say it in a bad way whatsoever. But they said to me, I think you might have ADHD. Do you know that? I think you might have ADHD, Mark. I think you should get tested. And it was almost like a running joke, right? It was. But the more I looked into ADHD, or the more that I seen on social media, because I say that I looked into it, I didn't. Because the fact of whether I had ADHD or not didn't really change my outlook in life, or didn't really change how I was, or wasn't going to change me at all, because it just is what it is. But the process for me was that I wasn't going to get a diagnosis through the NHS anytime soon. So, as I said, I've managed to put myself in a position where I can go private. So I'd done that. I went to a company, and I don't know whether I should shout out this company or not in here. I don't know if I'm allowed to or not, so I won't, but they're based in Ireland. I had a very good in-depth conversation with them, and then it gets put to a psychiatrist. And yeah, it didn't just come back with ADHD, it came back with high-performing ADHD. So it's something that they asked me, and something that they said to me was that, are you surprised that you have this? And I says, no, not at all, because there's so much that has happened, or the way that I have fought all my life, was sort of pointed in all the direction that it would be ADHD. Now, to think, or did I think that I had ADHD even when I was younger, or even now, until the point over the last sort of year when I've been really toying with the idea that maybe I've got ADHD? No, I don't suppose I did. And the reason for that being is because it's just me. I don't know. When somebody was to say, like, why do you think you've got ADHD? I was like, well, I don't really know why I think I've got ADHD, because this is just who I am. It's just who I've always been. So, yeah, it wasn't something that I was really too bothered about. But also, I say that I wasn't too bothered about it, but I still got a diagnosis. And the reason that I got the diagnosis, and the reason that I wanted to know, is that just to have a better understanding of me, just to know a wee bit more about what's going on inside me. And yeah, it was confirmed pretty quickly that I had high performing ADHD. Where does that leave me, but? Because I see a lot of people on social media, or I see a lot of people today, right, who use ADHD as an excuse. That's something I will never do, right? Something that I'm never going to do. But what it does do now is that when I am going to be a wee bit impulsive, I can actually sit back, take a minute and go, right, think about this. That's really all this was about. That really is what this diagnosis was about. And I believe that if you are at the age of me, I am 41, just turned 41 a couple of weeks ago, and you're seriously thinking, maybe I've got ADHD, because I do see a lot of these things on social media. I do have these sort of traits. Maybe I've got ADHD. Then I think you should get checked just for you, just so you know a bit more about yourself and why you think the way that you think, why you act the way that you act, why you do the things that you do, is because you've got ADHD. And it's definitely helped me massively to cope with certain things, when overthinking. When I'm overthinking things, I can now just go, okay, chillax a wee minute here, Mark, and just take some time. And this is the ADHD that's just making you overthink about these things. But there are also things in that my traits, you will find that there's a lot of people who they will tell you that you are hyper focused on things. And that's something that I don't want to slow down. That's something that I don't want to take away from myself, because I've built a business and done things in my life because I'm hyper focused. Like I just told one of my best friends or my best friend there that I was that I had ADHD, and he wasn't surprised at all, because he said that, you know, once you commit to something, you are fucking committed. And it's like that with anything. Let's take just an example for you would be weight. I've went up and down in weight ever since I can fucking remember. Ever since I can remember. But when I have something planned, so I've done many sort of runs. I've like ran the 3 peaks. I've ran the 3 UK peaks. So that would be Snowdon, Scafell Pike, and Ben Nevis. I ran them up and down, and I trained like fuck for them. I ate so clean. I just cut out all the shit. I got myself physically into the best shape that I've ever been in. But I always knew at the end of that, if I didn't have another focus, instead of just maintaining that and maintaining the healthy body and the healthy mind and everything, I knew that once I got to the end of that and once I achieved that goal, that I would go back to the old fucking ways. And I've done that with everything. I've even done it with this business that I've created, and I'm not planning on giving it up anytime soon. And definitely not now that I know that I've got a better understanding that with ADHD, that's kind of what happens, is that you're so hyper focused on something, then you achieve it, and then it kind of like fizzles out then and you get bored easy. I'm determined now that I understand that, and I'm not going to let myself get bored easy. So that's why I'm saying I needed to understand about me. It's given me a bit of clarification on how my brain works. And now I'm not trying to fight against it. I just know how to deal with things a wee bit better. So that's what I'm saying. As I said, I ran the 3 peaks. I got myself into physically great condition, finished it, went back the way, ended up then just going through a bit of a lull, put on weight again, wasn't the fittest person in the world, then decided one day when I was sat on my couch, I just walked through, my wife was doing something in the kitchen, and I walked through and says, I'm going to run from where I live now, which is 57 miles away from my hometown of Fort William. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to run that. Give me a few months, I'm going to get myself fit again, and I'm going to run that. I'm going to run it all at once. You know, there was no stopping or nothing like that. My wife just went, that's fucking insane. Because where we're from, there's hills like this and there's twists like this. It's 57 miles. It's a long way, but with going up hills and down hills, you're going to have to be at your peak fitness mark to take on this challenge. And I did. And I got myself even better sort of peak fitness and physical fitness than I did when I ran the 3 peaks. I was fucking shredded, ripped to bits, looking great, running for miles and miles and miles. And even when I finished that race, I could have ran another 10, 15, 20 miles easily, right? Because I was that fit, because I hyper focused in it. I trained every single day like a Trojan. But when I got to the end of that as well, I completed it and I fell off a cliff massively. I went back to my old ways. I went back to being unfit, not going to the gym, not even going out for a walk. I love running. I always did love running because I would just go run. I learned to not put any music in and I would just let my mind wander. And it done amazing things for me. But I finished that challenge and I went back the way. And I've never really got back into the physical fitness way that I was when I done that. That was about 3-4 years ago. But what I did do is I decided I'm going to start a business. What are you going to do? I don't know, but I'm going to start a business. COVID came along, kind of screwed all that up for a lot of people, but for a lot of people it did. But for me, it just made me even more determined that I was going to start a business. Now, The business wasn't anything new. The business is something, wanting to start a business is something that I had wanted to do ever since I was a kid. I was there was two things that I wanted to do when I was younger. In fact, when I was really young, I wanted to be a footballer, right? A lot of boys and girls will want to be a footballer. I wasn't good enough. I was nowhere near good enough, so I wasn't going to be that. I was pretty talented as a singer-songwriter. Not the greatest singer in the world, I've got to admit, but songwriting, I could write some really good songs, and that was because of my ADHD. There was so much going on in my head. I would just write down and write down. Bearing in mind, even at a young age, when I started writing music, I was probably only about 10, 11, not knowing I had ADHD, but I just knew that I had a lot of things going on in my head, a lot of words, a lot of things, a lot of artistic sort of flair wanting to come out onto this bit of paper. And don't get me wrong, some of these songs, a lot of these songs were fucking dog shite. A lot of them were shite. But I just knew the more that I kept on writing and writing, I enjoyed it. I got things out. And these songs that were dog shite started to get progressively better, right? Not all of them, even as I got older, were brilliant. I've not long ago wrote a song there, which I think is some of the best lyrics I've ever written. But these are things like that artistic sort of way that you've got to get out because your brain is just going and constantly going. But for me, I genuinely think because of all these things, because of the things that I've done and the things that I've achieved in my life, I genuinely believe that I probably wouldn't have done that without having ADHD. That's not to say that people who don't have ADHD, there's plenty of people in the world who don't have ADHD who have achieved a lot more than me. But I just think that this has been, because I've been so hyper-focused on things, I actually thank having ADHD. I actually thank getting the diagnosis of having ADHD and now being able to properly understand myself. I don't necessarily need to understand ADHD. I don't know if I actually want to understand ADHD because it's just a part of me. And the more I try and understand what ADHD is, I'm scared that I'll try and fight against it because I don't want to think like this. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But ADHD has made me the person that I am. Now, I will also not blame ADHD for any mistakes that I have made in my life. I will always be accountable for it. But it also gives me a bit of understanding to why I maybe done and said some of the things that I wish I hadn't done or said, if that makes any sense. But I don't blame ADHD because you can't praise ADHD for all these things and then blame it for, because it's ultimately it's all on me. But getting a better understanding of ADHD now lets me progress and move on in life and understand that, okay, when something comes up, instead of reacting to it, maybe that's something that without knowing I had ADHD before, I would have just reacted. Now I can safely say that I can sit back, take a minute, assess the situation, and then I can act on it. Really, this video is about if you are sort of older, even if you're not older, but if you're younger, but I can only talk for somebody who's 41. So if you're like a bit older in age, or I don't mean old in age, but if you're like 40 or past 40 or in, and you want to get diagnosed for ADHD, I believe that you should. I believe that if you can, I believe that you should definitely go to the NHS, see if they can get you on the NHS and quick. But if you're desperate to know and you want to go private, it's definitely a positive thing to do. And even if you don't have ADHD, then you can reassess maybe other solutions to why maybe you think or act the way that you do, and work on it from there. The thing is, I don't need to work on ADHD. It's just part of me. And it's maybe just part of you. And it's an amazing thing. And it's something that a lot of people are talking about now. It doesn't change anything in my life. As I said, I know there's a lot of people out there who are now use it as a weapon to claim benefits. a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the fucking truth. There's a lot of people, and it is part of the system now that if you have ADHD, you can claim benefits. That's something that I will never be doing. It's nothing, something that I've never wanted to do. As I says, I'm a business owner. I'm still trying to build on my business. I've now added new services, which gives me another focus to go on. And I'm building. And I believe it's because ADHD helps me do that. It helps me focus on the things that I want to do. And I'm grateful for that. So if you think that you are suffering from ADHD, you think that you might have ADHD, please don't see it as a negative. But please, if you can, go and get yourself checked out. And I'm pretty sure that you won't regret it. But listen, I'm going to leave it there. Do us a massive favor. If you've not subscribed, please smash the subscribe button below. Let's see if we can grow this channel. We're going to have other things to talk about on here. We're going to talk about all things personal development moving forward. But let me know in the comment section also if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, anything in particular that you want to talk about. And I will definitely go there. There's nothing that is off limits. Put it in the comment section, anything that you're worried about, anything that you've done, anything that I can possibly give my 2 pence on, just my sort of opinion on, and things that maybe I've experienced that can help you. Let me know in the comment section, but until the next time, I'll see you then. Take it easy.